Hello, everybody. My name is Jesse, and this is kind of different. I'm trying out something new here. So first things first, I kind of do want to say why I haven't really been streaming these past few days. If you haven't seen, I actually uploaded a new video, which I highly recommend you go watch. Please watch it. I spent a lot of time on it, and I think it came out really good. And I really believe you guys are gonna enjoy the video. Um, Aside from that, uh, yesterday, today is June 10th, so June 9th. I wasn't really able to stream because my internet was down, so that was fun. But anyways, I have seen, not fully, but some games that have been announced, and I kind of do want to talk about them. One of them being Kingdom Hearts 4. So we're finally getting Kingdom Hearts 4. I have been waiting for a new Kingdom Hearts game for quite a long time. Kingdom Hearts 4. I am hyped as hell. It looks really good. I honestly don't really know what to expect, like what kind of worlds we're going to be going through, because I feel like with what they're doing with Kingdom Hearts right now, Kingdom Hearts 4 at the very least, because we're in a completely new saga, is that are we going to still be traveling through known Disney worlds? Because if you look at the trailer, you know, you could see that, hey, we're not in Sora's world. We're in the quote unquote real world. And also, hey Cooper, what's up? He wants to be walked, but it's not time yet. But yeah, no. So honestly, I'm pretty hyped about it. I think it's gonna be pretty good. It looks really beautiful. I really like the design that Sora has. I think it's gonna be a nice change of pace. And also in the trailer, and also let me pull it up here. I'm not gonna actually be listening. I don't even have my freaking things on. My microphone. My I can't think of the name, bro. I'm drawing a blank. But anyways, during the trailer, I did notice that there was a dude that looked a little bit like Zemnis. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna have it up on screen like a little bit, but just to show you what it is that I'm talking about. But there was a part during the trailer where I saw a dude that looked like Zemnis, or it could have been that one guy, Verum Rex. There's a dude that looks a lot like Zemnis to me. Like they're hiding his face, obviously. It could be the boss fight from Kingdom Hearts 3. You know, the I'm just gonna call him Verum Rex because I don't actually remember his name. I know that he's a Final Fantasy character, at least I think. I'm not too well versed into the Final Fantasy stuff, but I think it looks great. I think it looks amazing. I'm honestly really hyped. It's been years. I still need to play through Melody of Memory, Memory of Melody, the basically the rhythm game that they've released, because I haven't played it yet simply because I still haven't beaten the Verum Rex boss fight, and so that's what I'm mainly trying to do. So, aside from Kingdom Hearts, Persona 4 Revival, or I forget what it's called. Yeah, Persona 4 Revival. I honestly think it looks really beautiful. It's probably gonna be the best looking Persona game that we're gonna get. It looks wonderful. I don't actually know, but I feel like we're maybe getting one returning voice actor, which is Yuri Lowell. Lowell. I can't pronounce his last name, but basically the voice of Sasuke, Persona 3 protagonist original, and original voice actor of Yosuke Hanamura from Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden. You know. I genuinely believe that that Persona 4 Revival is going to be a spectacular game. I hope that they do kind of like maybe mix up some things here and there. You know, kind of like how they did with like Persona 3 Reload, where like they added the little Twilight shards and stuff like that, because that wasn't in the original game. And then you have like newer moves, newer attacks, theurgy. I don't particularly say I want Theurgy to be back in this particular game because I feel like it just wouldn't really make sense. But obviously, it's Persona 4, it's a remake of the original game. They're going to be adding something new, and so it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. I'm actually really hyped. And funny enough, it comes out February. I'm not too sure if I will be doing a Let's Play for Persona 4 Revival, simply because um, when it came to like Persona 3 Reload, I feel like the biggest issue was the fact that I had a job at that point in time, right? So it made it hard for me to want to like stream on certain days or just stream in general, simply because I was tired and I wasn't home alone and I wasn't as comfortable just doing things because my sister's in the room. She wants to relax because she has a hard day at work and stuff like that. But since I have my own room now, and it's like practically no excuses. There may or may not be. I'm not really planning on it, but aside from that, the trailer looks amazing. Love the voice actors. I believe we're getting the original voice actor of Igor, so that's always hype as hell. And then the one of the main things I did really want to talk about, and I really want to like theorize a little bit, Persona 6. Now, to most of my friends that know me, or to most of you who have seen my videos, you would know I love Atlas. I love a majority of their Persona, well, mainly SMT games. I have played a couple, like Radiant Historia, The Perfect Chronology. Uh, I'm trying to think of something else, but I'm not too sure. That's like the only other game I can think about. I'm pretty sure there's like one more in there. I'll try to see if I can find it, if anything. But aside from that, I love SMT. Hey, I'm spoiling things. You better leave now. I know that when it comes to more like usually Persona games kind of always give that feeling where like yeah, the character goes through like a bunch of rough patches, a lot of like difficulty and whatnot, and usually it kind of has like a happy ending per se. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that personally, because I feel like in Persona 3, where your main character, I'm just gonna call him Minato Arisato, which is what I used, I believe, throughout the game. Or did I use my name? I can't remember. But the main character, Minato Arisato, uh, he dies at the end, right? And it's such uh like kind of like a depressing kind of like feeling, the main character that you've been throughout this entire time, this person who has gone through a multitude of struggles and facing the concept of death itself, quite literally, fighting death, or at least the avatar of death, you know throughout his journey, he was pretty like, oh, whatever, that's basically how he is. He's just a whatever guy. Like, he just doesn't care. His whole life is just kind of like, all right, I'll just do whatever I guess I feel like I should be doing. Just someone who just kind of like wanders through life, but as you like learn through the characters, like you interact with them more, obviously the game still gives you the option to be like, oh, whatever, who cares, but it also gives you the option to just be nice, or just to be like a helping hand, or just someone that listens, and it's true very much in Persona 4 and Persona 5 as well. When it comes to like the Persona 3 protagonist, he is the only one, to my knowledge. I haven't played the previous Persona 1 or 2, or Eternal Sin, where the main character willingly sacrifices himself. Like, he dies. Like, he canonically dies. And I like that idea so much because as happy, or like not happy, but as like joyful moments there are in Persona 3, I like the idea that the ending itself is not so joyful, where like, everyone came back alive. I like those kind of like moments because it kind of like feels closer to like, I guess, reality. I mean, we're in a world where like a your school becomes like a giant tower for you to traverse and kill monsters. Like it doesn't get more fake than that. But what I'm trying to say is that like um I love how that despite the amount of trouble that you go through, the amount of things that you've done, you couldn't be saved per se. Like your character themselves couldn't be freed from their fate because their destination was always to be part of someone's life, change their way of thinking so that they're not as upset or depressed about what they've gone through. Like you tell them like, hey, life is still worth living. But in the event that you yourself lose your own life, I'm not saying it's like, the typical like, oh, I must sacrifice myself. Like he does, but it doesn't feel like it just happens out of nowhere, because throughout the multitude of social links, the amount of people you interact with, it's like your character is slowly learning that like I have a lot of people that I care for now. There's a lot of people that like who like in which the main character gave them life, they also give your character life. They give your character a reason as to why he wants to do what he does, you know? Because your character went from like, oh, whatever, who cares, and all that. Like, obviously, if you're playing through the game, interacting with as many social links as possible, you just learn that, like, there's other people with other lives, with other struggles, and you have your own, but you're still managing to like power through the good and the bad, to be a friend, to be a helping hand. And like I said, that much is still very much true in Persona 4 and 5. It is very prominent, but I feel like the way that 3 goes about it is just amazing. And the reason why I rambled on for so long for that is because I want and I believe that Persona 6 is going to be taking a much darker tone. Now, if we can see from like the trailer, go watch it, it's on YouTube. We see a graveyard. We see a lot of green, which honestly, personal fan, I love the color green. If you couldn't tell, uh, I'm kind of hoping that this Persona 6 game is going to be taking a little bit more from the main SMT games, where uh, your decisions matter, but just like I kind of hope that they do make the tone just a bit darker, because I feel like there's a lot more story to tell than just saying like, oh, me and my friends, the power of friendship. A lot of, I don't know, maybe I'm just tired of the whole power friendship kind of like ordeal. Not that there's anything completely wrong with it. It's just that I feel like with Persona, uh, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about like Persona 5 here a little bit. They could do more with its story. Persona 3, Persona 4. Obviously, they're great games. I feel like they feel more fleshed out when I talk about those games. There's a lot of things to discuss. There's a lot of things that happen, stuff like that. There's even an option in Persona 4, which, if you haven't played it, where you can actually kill someone and it completely changes the outcome of certain events in the game without getting too spoilery. The thing is that even in Persona 3 you have that same option, but in Persona 3 and 4 it makes sense, for you to fall into those bad endings because they give you legitimate reasons to want to go for that route, like with Persona 4, there's a lot of build up and a lot of stuff that happens to make you want to kill the guy, like there's enough justification for that. Persona 3, you don't want your friends to have to suffer. You're facing basically an unkillable being. Wouldn't it make sense for you to kill the persona for the avatar of death? You get what I mean? Like there's a viable reason as to why you want to do that for Persona 3. Whereas in Persona 5, let's be honest, it wasn't really that great to want to join or go for the bad ending, quote unquote. Like basically, if you don't know Persona 5, once you reach like closer to like the end game, you find out the dude Igor is not actually the real Igor. It's actually some other deity. I can't remember the name. Uh, I know it just starts with like a Y. It's basically like an evil god essentially. And so he says like, "Oh yeah, stay with me, betray everything that you went through, and just make it so that the Phantom Thieves are always popular, that everyone loves it. You know, basically becoming the corruption, like the corrupt adults." I'm gonna be honest, I did not like or care for that ending whatsoever. I did play through Persona 5, but I feel like Persona 5, as great of a game as it is, it falls short in a lot of what it could have been. Because if you recall back during the first dungeon, which many people would agree that that very first dungeon Kamoshida boss fight is phenomenal. It's great. It's amazing. It sets up the game for a lot of great things. But as you play throughout the game, at least through vanilla, I feel like the game should have given you more of an option to want to kill the bosses of each palace. Obviously, it would change the course of game a whole lot, but I feel like from like a narrative perspective, that would have been really interesting because you have to, because like in the world of Persona 5, it would have made sense because you have on like let's go back to the Kamoshida bit. So on, who was being harassed by her teacher, the freaking gym teacher Kamoshida, it would make sense that On would want to kill him. You know, I feel like from there on, the game should have had like kind of like a point system, the way that SMT has it, where like your decisions and the what you choose to do affects the outcome of what the Phantom Thieves would be perceived as. And as we all know, it's all about perception in Persona 5. It's all about what the populace think of, what the populace think about everything in general. That's why we have mementos. That's why we go into these palaces. That's why we have to deal a lot with the human mind. I feel like having it so that you could choose whether On kills him or not effectively changes the way that the populace see the Phantom Thieves. Um, I feel like if you would have chosen more of like killing the people, you know, like let's say you kill Kamoshida, you kill every other palace dungeon, in which I feel like with the exception being Futaba, because you would have no reason to generally kill her, but like you would have a way to kind of like corrupt her way of thinking instead of her thinking that like oh my gosh, I haven't played it in so long. Where she basically learns to like forgive herself and let go. You know, like they do it in a way where like she herself breaks through, whereas they kind of like warped or twist her mind a little bit so that she's more inclined to be like uh more agreeable with whatever Joker chooses, you know. I mean, obviously, it would be the same because, like, if you're telling On, you know, to kill Kamoshida, she's gonna be more for killing the later bosses, you know. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of like tweaks and nuances there that have to be done, but I feel like allowing death, especially to like you as the Phantom Thieves deciding who gets to live or die, you know, you're basically either saying like I'm gonna fulfill my own justice, or you're actually gonna do what the Phantom Thieves are genuinely there to do, which is to change the perspective of people without having to do it forcibly, you know? Like I feel like that would have been like a much interesting thing. And I bring this up not just because I love complaining about that aspect of Persona 5, and also because having you choose to kill people and making the bad ending make a lot more sense, a much more interesting game. I kind of want Persona 6 to kind of have that same path, you know? Because I know I mentioned it a lot, like SMT, SMT. If you have never played an SMT game, uh, it's not the happiest game, I will admit. It's a very depressing story, you know? Because the thing is that when in SMT compared to Persona, in SMT the whole world's already gone to hell. Like the purpose of SMT from beginning to end, right, is to figure out what way you should recreate the world. The game does not hold your hand. It will forcibly push you down a flight of stairs to ensure that you learn the mechanics of the game and to for you to know that, hey, we're not here to help you. We're not here to keep this happy-go-lucky attitude. Like literally, the multitude of factions and characters that you meet and the decisions that you make as an SMT determine what ending you get. You know, and like I said, like you do recreate the world in according to your image, but your image is based off of the decisions that you have made throughout your entire journey. And I genuinely believe that if they did something like that for a Persona game, it would be really awesome. Because like I said, Persona at the end of the day, it's still an SMT game. Obviously, it's a lot more lighthearted. I don't really expect them to kind of change that or to truly make it more SMT like. But I feel like with the story of Vanilla 5, where it could have been so much better, you know, I kind of want them to go like all out, you know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a game developer. I'm not in there with them, you know, because obviously it would take a lot of time, you know, to try to get a lot of this stuff done, a lot of the ideas that I'm saying. But genuine, genuinely, I believe that they could pull it off because they have done it before. They've done this sort of thing before where one decision ultimately changes the way that the game is progressed. For those of you that don't know, and you're planning on playing, I believe it's Persona 1. Might have to fact check me on that. But in Persona 1, there is a part in the game where if you decide to interact with different characters, you go through an entirely different journey. I mean, granted, Persona 1 and 2, both Persona 2 games, they're vastly not as graphic heavy as any of the later Persona titles, right? So for them at the time, quote unquote, would have been easier or was easier for them to be able to make an entirely different game within the same game because your choices basically determined a different outcome, a different way to the end, you know? And that idea is really cool. Like I really wish that they would bring something like that back. I feel like if it would have been in Persona 5 where you kill Kamoshida and now you go through an entirely different list of dungeons to explore, that would have been awesome. You know? I mean, granted, you know, you have to make it make sense within the story. You have to make it make sense within you know, lore wise, you know, and stuff like that. Like you have to make it good at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that it's that easy for them. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I feel like they of all people could definitely make it work, especially since if Persona 1 never took off, you know, we wouldn't have Persona 6. I genuinely believe that maybe going just a little bit darker. Now, it doesn't have to be super dark. It doesn't have to be as depressing as an actual SMT game. That's not at all what I'm saying. As much as I would love for it to be, it's Persona. It has its own identity. It has its own flow state, its own works, and it's praised for it and for good reason. But I genuinely want to see, like, maybe it doesn't have to be like how it was originally in Persona 1, you know, where like it vastly changes the dungeons you go through. It doesn't have to be that way. If it does and they make it work, dear gosh, well, game of the year, like like it's no competition, you know. But honestly, I do hope that whatever it is that we're gonna deal with in Persona 6, that it learns from the mistakes of Persona 5 in its narrative. And I want and hope that in Persona 6 that we get a much darker tone. Just not by that much, you know, like just a little bit. I mean, obviously we saw a graveyard, so we're obviously going to be seeing something much darker than we have before. Maybe. I don't actually know, and I kind of wonder if what our starting arcana, our main arcana is gonna be, because I remember watching from my one of my favorite YouTubers, Johnny Awesome, that the different Persona games kind of follow a set tarot card, whereas in Persona 3, obviously the main theme is not death. Death is the main influence. It's the main like focus. So each game kind of follows like a tarot card. Obviously, the main protagonist is usually going to be the Fool Arcana, and we're going to be going through a journey, interacting with people. But if I'm being honest, and what I'm thinking is that we may or may not get traditional social links or confidants, depending on what they decide to call it. They might go back to social links. They might call it something else entirely. I feel like Persona 6 might be a complete rework of what we think Persona is, you know? Because obviously, you know, we've gone through the teenagers, you know, the young children who go through a journey, who go through forms of self-discovery and learning what their purpose or what their fulfillment of themselves are, basically where they learn to love and accept themselves, where they basically go through their journey learning who they are, you know. Where I feel like in Persona 6, because like I said, they started off with a graveyard, we might be getting a much darker game. I feel like we might be maybe stepping away from something like that, and I'm here for it. I'm all for change. Obviously, if it's good, if it's fun, I'm here for it. You know, I will be streaming through Persona. I was gonna say Persona 5. I will be streaming through Persona 6 when it does come out. I'm gonna be super hyped for it, and honestly, I just think that with the little teaser that we got, I'm hyped. I'm really hyped for Persona 6. I think it's going to be an amazing game. I believe that, you know, we might be seeing the removal of maybe we're not going to be even teenagers anymore. Maybe we're going to be college students or maybe even adults. I don't know. Cuz Persona is just it's Persona. And if it wasn't for Persona, mainly Persona 3, which is the first Persona game I watched a playthrough of, my kind of like introductory to the SMT universe, I would not have found my love for the SMT franchise. I love Shin Megami Tensei. I love the mainline titles simply because their stories, I mean, albeit not all of them are the best. I've only played 3, 4. I never finished 4 Apocalypse, but I don't really care because the story is really bad on that one. And 5 Vengeance. I never finished playing 5 Original, but I did not like the fact that your choices basically mean nothing. The whole purpose of SMT is that your choices have outcomes, and that is something I genuinely love because that is true to real life. Whatever you choose to do or not do, what you choose to agree with or side against, that has genuine outcomes for your life through your journey in life. And I would love to see that in Persona because it would make sense. Because Persona is closer, you know, to, well, quote unquote reality. You know, obviously, like I said, you're summoning freaking Sun Wukong like that. I'm just here voicing my opinion. I'm here just basically trying to guess. I guess that's theorizing. I guess I don't freaking know. But basically, I'm just here to just kind of throw in my 2 cents. You know, obviously, Persona 6, it's gonna be an amazing game. I don't think Atlas has fumbled with any of their more recent titles as of late. Um, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm hyped. I mean, I've been recording for like 30 something minutes. I was only expecting this to be like 20 or like maybe even less. But anyways, I'm excited. I'm hyped as hell for Persona 6, Persona 4 Revival, and I'm not can't even remember if I mentioned it, but also hyped as hell for Ocarina of Time remake. I can't wait to see Best Girl Malin redone, bro. Like, oh my gosh, I'm excited. So excited. But anyways, I gotta go walk this little guy right here. And I will see you guys in the next video and our live stream, which should be hopefully tomorrow. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. God bless, stay safe, and take care.